There's been a lot of amazing new spell mods that have released lately in Baldur's Gate 3, so I thought this would be the perfect time to cover the best new spell mods in Baldur's Gate 3's mod manager. We have 7 mods to cover today, and the first 2 are actually huge. First up, we have the 2024 spell editions by The Real Zir. As well, we also have Heroes of Faerun spells, also by The Real Zir. These 2 mods are amazing. What they do is they adapt spells from the 2024 Player's Handbook and the new Heroes of Faerun book. And there are a lot of spells, including the very popular new spell Doomtide and many others. So there's a few different cantrips here, like Word of Radiance, doing 1d6 of radiant damage, and another thing, all cleric, wizard, and druid spells will be added to the magical secrets for bards at level 6. There's also the popular Mind Sliver cantrip and Thunderclap. Those are both from the 2024 spell editions, but we actually get 2 level 1 spells here from the Heroes of Faerun with Spellfire Flare, here doing a 2d10 of radiant damage, no other effects, and the Ward Away, which will make an enemy have half their movement speed, and it basically slows them. They can only use an action or a bonus action. And here's the VFX for Spellfire Flare. You just shoot that off like that. And then we also have the Ward Away there. So I'll show you what this one looks like. Little red orb. For level 2 spells, we get Death Armor from the Heroes of Faerun. This is a cool one. So it makes enemies that attack you take a 2d4 of necrotic damage, and you get advantage in death saving throws. Pretty good ability. And they removed the restriction that's from the tabletop where you can only use it once per turn. You can use it an unlimited amount of times per turn, which makes it a lot more usable, just how the game works. We also get Elminster's Illusion here, and this is not the only Elminster spell. You have advantage on saving throws against spells and magical effects for 10 turns as a concentration. That's pretty good. And we also have the Arcane Vigor, doing a 2d6 plus 3 healing, which can heal yourself, a nice ability as a bonus action. The Dragon's Breath bonus action, which does have a concentration here. Touch a creature to grant them the draconic power of a chosen element, which lets them set up and do Dragon Breath attacks. And we also got from the 2024 spell editions, the Mind Spike cantrip, which does a 3d8 of psychic damage. So you can go ahead here with giving a teammate some special breath attacks. You just go up, it looks like you attack them, and then they get themselves for 10 turns a Frost Breath or whatever elemental breath attack that you chose there. So that's kind of nice. Elminster's Illusion. So here's what that'll look like. So you apply it to yourself. You get a little Aegis Ward there, blocking spells from dealing damage. So again, you take half damage if you succeed on a saving throw, and no damage if you, or half damage if you fail, no damage if you succeed, and advantage on spell saving throws. The Cacophonic Shield that we get at level 3 here is an interesting one. So it creates an area of effect doing thunder damage if creatures move within it, doing 3d6 of thunder damage. It can also be upcast for more damage, and you also have resistance with thunder damage while this is applied, and at ranged attack rolls against you will have disadvantage, so it kind of forces them into melee combat to then take the thunder damage, which is a very good damage type in Baldur's Gate 3 because it can set up a lot. We also have Silune's Viper here, which has force damage. It also gives you 15 temporary health and gives you an attack that you can send the Viper out at an attacker, doing that 1d6 of force damage and potentially poisoning them, and then they become incapacitated when they're poisoned. It's kind of a cool ability. We also have Conjure Constructs, which I'll pop them right down here. So you go ahead with this spell, you summon in, and then you get the Clockwork Force here, conjuring a blast of clockwork magic, which you can shoot at a target. And then you also have the Orderly Ward here, which allows you to then also heal a target. Karlach actually will heal herself all the time, which is nice. And this gives you the target temporary health equal to a 1d6 plus the spellcasting ability modifier. In normal D&D, it is a summon, but they gave the powers to the spellcaster just to make it a little bit more seamless. Now we also have that Silune's Viper there, which we can use on ourselves, and then we get that Viper attack that we can send off, and it potentially could poison the target, so you go ahead there with the green attack, shoots off the Viper. And then we have this snake following around our character, which is kind of cool, little VFX. Once we get to the level 4 spells, we have an interesting one here with Backlash. So when an attacker attacks you, you reduce the damage by 46, and then they take a 46 of force damage. And this can trigger automatically when you get attacked, and it's a con save for the enemy. There's also Spellfire Storm doing a 40-10 of radiant damage. It's kind of like Spirit Guardians. You can pop down on the ground, it does radiant damage in an area for 10 turns to concentration. We also have the Vitriolic Sphere, which does acid damage. There's not many good acid damage spells in the game, so if you're playing as like an acid draconic sorcerer, this is going to be the best choice for spell for you. And it also has a Conjure Minor Elemental spell included, which you conjure spirits from the elemental planes. Until the spell ends, any attack you make deals an extra 2d8 damage when you hit a creature inside the area. So here's the Conjure Minor Elementals that you can apply onto yourself, and then you get to choose from which toggleable passive that you want to have, which gives you this radius, and then attacks when it will get that additional 2 to 16 of the fire, cold, lightning, or acid damage. And here's the Vitriolic Sphere. It has a huge area of effect, and again, there's not really that many good acid spells, so it's nice to have one. Illustriel's Moon Cloak is a very interesting support style spell. It creates a 20-foot emanation of dim light where you get resistance to cold, lightning, and radiant damage. and ranged attacks against your allies will have disadvantage. And when the spell ends, you can use one of the following. You guys have got the Liberation, which can void the frightened, grappled, and restrained condition, and you can use a reaction to end that condition. So that's just a free get out of jail free card basically. And the Respite as a magic action when you are an ally in the area regains health points. You get, or as a magic action that gives your teammates a 40-10 plus your spellcasting modifier of healing. Now another spell that you infuse yourself with like an elemental ability is the Song Owl's Elemental Suffusion. So this one gives you the ability to choose a different elemental type and get the power from it, and then also do a special attack based off it. There's also the Circle of Power. While in the aura, you and your allies will have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects, and when an affected creature succeeds a saving throw against a spell, it takes no damage, which is really nice, giving your entire team basically the ability that the monks and the rogues get. And we have the ever popular Steelwind Strike. There'll be more on this later. This is also in Mistress Spells. It's one of the most popular spells. I just go on and include it here because this is a really good one. 60-10 of force damage against 5 different targets. It's strong. It's just strong. And another spell that I absolutely love, it's also in Mistress Spells, is Synaptic Static. Now, psychic damage is obviously very powerful because of the Resonant Stone being able to double it. You cause psychic energy to erupt at a point, does an 8d6 of psychic damage. It's a huge damaging spell. It's very powerful in Baldur's Gate 3. And I actually may think it's a little bit more powerful than Steelwind Strike and actually the capacities of this video game setting. You also have Yolan's Regal Presence. So basically, whenever a target enters your little bubble, that forces them to do a wisdom saving throw, and on a failed save, they take a 4d6 of psychic damage and get knocked prone, and you push it away 10 feet. On a successful save, they'll only take half damage. And this one's really interesting, Jalarzi Storm of Radiance. So this does Radiant and Thunder damage, the two best damage types in the game, and great for proccing conditions. Basically forces a Constitution saving throw in an area of effect, and they'll take that damage. Now, unfortunately, Elminster's Effulgent Spheres, so Elminster's Spheres is not, unfortunately, appearing for me, but this makes you get the Absorb Energy, which basically, you get little orbs that float around, and when you take elemental damage, you can use a reaction to give yourself resistance to that elemental damage type, and then you get the Elemental Blast. As a bonus action, you can throw one of those orbs. It does 3d6 of the elemental damage choice that you choose. So here is the Storm of Radiance. You can do that light, the Radiant and Thunder damage. I love it, big light beam attack. There's also the Elemental Suffusion there, which allows you to choose an elemental damage type and infuse yourself with it to get the benefits of, depending on it, Flight, Elemental Pulse, and Resistance to that elemental damage choice. So they got the Elemental Pulse there from the Thunder damage. And then we got the Yolan's Regal Presence here. And this one's really fun. I like it because, again, psychic damage is just so good. And you have this ground below your character, the sand, kind of funny to show off where you're going to be affecting the targets from. It does have some glitches there. Whenever there's something above the ground, you normally would just see like the sand shifting. There's some more spells that are included in the Heroes of Faerun and the 2024 spell editions, both by the Real Zero. I may do a future video going a little bit more in depth and showing off all the VFX. There's a lot of them in this. I don't want the full video to be these two mods, but they're both fantastic. Now look at these super cool icons. We actually just got a new spell mod today, and it was shared in my Discord server. I absolutely love this. It is the Succubus Spells V2 by I'm Freya here, which adds a bunch of psychic enchantment style cantrips and spells into the game. I'll just quickly go through all these here and then show off what they all look like. And my personal favorite is Whiplash. So the area of effect spells are just really fun here. Again, amazing VFX. So I just wanted to quickly go through there just so you get an idea of what's going on with this mod, because it is seriously so cool. Perfect for a thematic run. Now this mod adds 3 new cantrips to the game with the Primal Lust there, which can end up making the target get wet, which is going to make it take double lightning and cold damage. There's also a Fly using movement speed. And also Degrade there, which degrades a creature, giving a 1d6 penalty to attack rolls, ability checks, and damage dealt. It has disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. So it's kind of like a better version of Vicious Mockery. And it's also a bonus action. I like it, it's fun. There's also the Luring Kiss here, which you can blow a kiss at a target, luring them in, which is basically like the command approach, one of my favorites. I really enjoy that, especially using cold surfaces. It's nothing funner than telling a target to walk towards you and making them fall on their ass. There's also Charming Armor here, which protects the target from attacks, increasing its armor class to 13 plus its charisma modifier. Really cool. And an alternative to Mage Armor that works on a lot of different characters. So if you're playing with a sorcerer, perfect for them. We also have the Passion Missile here, which does psychic damage on it. And then the Whiplash there, which is, again, my favorite, attacking in a large area of effect. I love being able to get Fly really early on in the game, and just good to get accessible areas a little bit easier. The Charming Armor there is really nice because you can just, again, get your Charisma modifier added to it instead. And then the Whiplash spell here has a pretty large area of effect, which I really enjoy because there's not really many spells out there that can do something like that. You can only hit 3 targets with it, so it's not like it's like broken. It's a little bit easier to use than something like a cleaving attack, which usually hits in a cone, because now you can just use this. And I love the animation for it, a big spinning attack just like that, kind of like the whirlwind attack from the Ranger. It looks super cool, and your character has these cool little effects on them. There's also the Draining Kiss spell level to it. I love this icon, it's super cool. 2d8 of psychic damage, and it helps you regain health. Actually reminds me a lot of the Pokemon move, kind of does something similar. And Lust Ray is like a psychic damage version of the Scorching Ray spell. Big fan of Summon Hellhound here, and also we got Love Shackles, which can hold enemy in place, kind of like a hold person of sorts, and then the Abyssal Whip there, which can knock an enemy prone or stun them and make them bleed. And if you have the animations unlocked, you can do a bit of a different animation there. And there's also the Blinding Beauty, which can blind a creature and attack rolls against will at advantage, and the foe will attack with disadvantage. So pretty cool group of spells here, and I may do a video where I make a build going over all of these, because there's a lot of them and a lot of fun ways that you can go about using it. There's Summon Giant Tentacle, Dream Eater if you attack a sleeping target, Soul Siphon, and Tormented Desire at character level 11, doing an 8d8 of psychic damage and reducing the target's movement speed by half. And Soul Siphon, I'm kind of blocking it here, will help you regain 2 to 24 health after attacking in an 8d10 damage in a radius of 6 meters. And that is the Succubus Spells Volume 2 by Freya. We also have Rolan Spells, and this one's actually available on console now. It came out November 23rd by Poppy here, which adapts some of Rolan's unique spells that he has into the game and lets you use them. Like, for example, Magic Missile normally does 3 missiles. Rolan's Magic Missile is actually 1 missile. It does a 5d8 plus 5 force damage and can daze the target, giving them disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. And of course, Rolan's Fireball is actually a level 4 one, doing a 9d6 of fire damage. And what's cool about it is it actually will apply the heat metal condition on enemies, so you can then heat them later on, which is a pretty fun ability. So yeah, you do get that additional fire damage. It's not a whole lot extra, but it's a cool spell. And Rolan actually uses these at the end game if you're able to recruit him for that. Oddly, they won't show up for me. They were showing up earlier, but Rolan's Mage Armor increases armor class by 2 until long rest, which is a better version of the Mage Armor, because normally that sets your base armor class value to 13. Increasing armor class by 2 is a lot better for different setups, I should clarify. Rolan's Thunderwave, available for the Wizard, Sorcerer, Arcane Trickster, Eldritch Knight, Bard, Druid, and Tempest Domain, is really cool because it has a bigger pushback of 12 meters and it knocks them prone while doing a little bit less damage. It's much better this way, obviously, because the biggest effect is the pushback on it. And Rolan's Color Spray, which is interesting. Confusion is a cool status. It does it up to a combined 44 health points for a level 4 spell. I mean, I wouldn't use my level 4 spell slot on that, but it's a cool option to have. And Confusion is a really fun ability to use because the target will then randomly attack or just randomly skip their turn. A pretty fun ability. And here's that reapply damage from like the heat metal that comes from Rolan's Fireball. So again, that is by Poppy here, Rolan Spells. Now, you know what they say, folks, teamwork makes the dream work. This is a new version of Hunting Mark, which I think is a really cool mod by Saniark Cranius. This is a alternative which is team focused, and you can actually upcast it as well. So basically, this is a concentration-free version of Hunter's Mark here. It has a 1d4 of force damage instead of the damage type that your weapon deals, but it doesn't require concentration. It's still a bonus action, but you can upcast it. So it's actually a very valid alternative to Hunter's Mark. Hunting Mark is a really fun one. And I just want to cover this here because I love little changes like this that feel similar, but just a completely different way. And it opens up a different way of playing for not just you, but your entire team as well. So yeah, this is basically, they didn't want to force a replacement, and this is meant for teamwork. The idea of you're my target became you're our targets. And most importantly, it actually gives the Rangers a good reason to use their spell slots, because, yeah, let's face it, the Ranger just has a little bit of less fun options for those. So yeah, this is great. Now, another just simple mod pack I want to mention, another one by The Real Zier, and I actually covered this briefly in an earlier section of the video, is the Steel Wind Strike 2024. Why I like this so much, this, again, is included in Mistress Spells, it's in other mod packs. It's a popular spell from D&D, and sometimes you just don't want the entire mod pack. Like, Mistress Spells, amazing group of spells. It's 135, though. It may clutter up your mod load order and also, or I guess your spell list whenever you're in game. So maybe you just want this one here. Again, very fun and powerful spell, and it's added to the Magical Secrets at the Bard spell list, which I think is great. As a big fan of the Bard subclass. and you can basically, it gives you that 60, 10 of force damage against 5 different targets. It's a very powerful spell. And I'm quickly going to give a shout out to myself here, a humble shout out to, I put 33 different cold damage spells into this College of Winter Spirit Ice Mage Holiday Bard subclass, and I am working on potentially putting this into a modded spell pack here with, once I tidy things up and go through all the review of these and hear people's feedback. But I highly recommend checking out my subclass mod here, because some unique cantrips abilities here, like the Snowball and Winter's Wit bonus action, Bardic Inspirations. You also get a bunch of different summons that are ice-themed, Icy Missile, Conjure Cranberry Juice, which gives you a special healing item, and also water bottles to throw with your mage hand. Not spells, but I add 22 different passes that unlock as you level up, and it actually works with a lot of the mods that we covered here today. That's the beauty of doing subclass mods. And yes, you can choose things like the Steel Wind Strike, as mentioned previously, and also the Hunting Mark. I love this. We're seeing more mods that actually add into the Bard Magical Secrets, which is just great. Again, as a big fan of the Bard, it's awesome to see some modded spells get added to their spell list. So it comes with a bunch of summons here that are all covered in ice. The spells all come with their own unique VFX here as well, giving a nice icy appearance. We got a Freezing Ray. I made a bunch of copies of like evocation spells. I also give them a bunch of upcasts as well, and gave them those cold appearances here. My favorite is Ice Ball, which does less damage than Fireball, but what it does is creates a surface below you, and obviously cold damage is better than fire damage as well. There's also things like the Aurora Smite here, which gives us a smite with a higher spell cost. For the equivalent level 1 of a Divine Smite, it costs a level 2 spell slot. I also added in Aurora's Guided Arrow here, which uses a Bardic Inspiration, which you only get 5 of per short rest, so it's a limited resource in combat, because you also have bonus action abilities that you can do with it as well. I made like a Lightning Arrow that's a cold arrow here. It was really fun. A lot of them set up the ice surfaces, so if you're a fan of that, I got your entire team covered with the Winter's Balance here, which will give everyone immunity to slowing down on ice. Ice usually slows your whole team down. This prevents that, and you also, none of you will slip, and I put it in a 12-meter radius. And then even the weapon attacks have things like the Frosty Butterflies here, which are going to create a big area of effect butterflies, which can give you advantage on attack rolls against the targets. So yeah, I got a lot of different abilities. I've already covered this in a video. I don't want to take up too much time in this, so check out my mod, you won't regret it. But that was the best new spell mods in Baldur's Gate 3's mod manager. Lots of great stuff released lately, and I just want to showcase the best of the best. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and we'll see y'all in the next one.